Brendan Rodgers still seems determined that we'll have a couple of players in by the time we jet off to America next week, which for me, it just seems unfeasible. So remember when I said that on Thursday? Yep, Thursday night. Didn't think we'd have any other new signings in for us jetting off to America. Oh boy, was I wrong. The king of the jinx is back, baby. I done it. Reverse juju style. Celtic transfer talk. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please could you make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. It would be much appreciated. Thank you for the support as things start to busy up in the Celtic transfer world. Suddenly, this has become a massive week. This is an end of the week special. We're going to look at all the players who are reportedly set to join Celtic over the next wee while and look at the stance of them all right now and where it all lies. Wow, things picked up pretty quickly. From nothing to everything all at once. Oh, let's do this. So in case you've been sleeping under a rock, Kasper Schmeichel is set to become Celtic's new #1 for the 2024-25 campaign. Unexpected news broke late on Friday night that Kasper Schmeichel would be Celtic's new goalkeeper, and that a deal was basically tied up, and sooner rather than later he will officially become a Celtic player. You remember the headlines, the post, the Fabrizio Romano tweets that got the Celtic online community up in arms. Some people are a huge fan of it, some people not so much. Listen, I've given all my opinions so far, but a solid keeper who will do for the next year. Yeah, it might land us back in the same situation this time next year or in 2 years' time looking for another goalkeeper, but there's no denying the quality that Kasper Schmeichel does have. We're going to go through the details of the transfer, when we should maybe expect to see him announced as a Celtic player, but if you want more on the deal itself, please make sure to check out my video from Friday night. So after the initial news on Friday night that Kasper Schmeichel was set to become Celtic's new keeper, Saturday morning Fabrizio Romano reported this, that the final details were being sorted and negotiations were well underway, which was then followed up by this tweet yesterday saying that Kasper Schmeichel will undergo his medical to become Celtic's new goalkeeper between Tuesday and Wednesday. So we could have Kasper Schmeichel announced as Celtic's new #1 and an official signing for the club as early as Tuesday night, depending how the medical goes, how quickly he gets to Glasgow, and when all the details are put to paper, when the I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed. That could be as early as Tuesday night, but it looks all set to be announced in the next few days that Kasper Schmeichel is Celtic's new #1. Also, in case you missed the original details of the deal, Fabrizio Romano has also reported that Kasper Schmeichel will be the new keeper with a contract that will be valid until June 2025 on a deal which will also include an option for another further season until June 2026. So he's coming in on a 1-year contract. Depending how he does over the course of the next year, the club will then decide if they want to trigger it into a 2-year deal. So we've basically got a goalkeeper guaranteed for the next year. We don't know if it'll be for the next 2 years yet, depends how he gets on this season. But if you're wanting the details, put into simplified terms, he's joining on a free. His previous club was Anderlecht in the Belgian Pro League. His contract expired there at the end of last season. He's coming in on a 1-year deal with an extension option of a further year at the end of the 24-25 campaign, and his medical is slotted in to be completed between Tuesday and Wednesday. So if all things go well, all details are fine for both parties, Kasper Schmeichel will officially become a Celtic player sometime between Tuesday night and Wednesday night, you would assume. And if everything goes well, you'd assume he goes to America as well. So there you go, Kasper Schmeichel will be signing this week. So of course, I'm looking forward to the official announcement and getting this done and out the way. It's been a long and tedious 5 months talking about who our new #1 is going to be, and whether you love it or you hate it, he will be a solid enough option for the next year. Yeah, I have my reservations in regards to the way we've went about it, but once again, I can't stress enough, none of my reservations are about the man himself. I've always been a big fan of Kasper Schmeichel, and I know that he's a fantastic replacement for a figurehead such as Joe Hart. He comes in replacing that same personality with the leadership skills and just the overall character of the guy. You know, he's a Premier League winner, he's a Champions League player, he's been capped 105 times for Denmark. In terms of quality and kind of just overall, I hate the word aura. I think it's a very overused word nowadays, but in terms of that word aura, there's not many keepers that could probably be at the same level as Kasper Schmeichel coming to Celtic. So there's definitely positives, there's definitely questions that can be asked towards the recruitment side of things, but listen, it's finally done, it's over, we have our number one, and we'll wait for the fine details to be announced throughout the week. So there you go, Kasper Schmeichel, expect him very soon. On to Adam Idah next. We're waiting for him to sign a permanent deal after his fantastic loan spell with Celtic in the second half of last season. However, we've had a bit of sad news and a bit of a stumbling block on that. However, it's not the end of the world, but Stephen McGowan is reporting on behalf of the Daily Mail that we have actually had a bid rejected for Adam Idah. That came out yesterday as well. Celtic apparently putting forward a bid of £4.5 million for Norwich City's striker Adam Idah. It's already been turned down by Norwich, so it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But Norwich City, in the article it was quoted, are still waiting on an offer that will trigger a serious conversation. Further talks are taking place though, so don't worry, Celtic aren't pulling out of the deal quite yet. I don't know how far they will go in said deal, depending on how much Norwich want, but £4.5 million is a no from Norwich. They're not willing to let the player go. We reported a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even last week, that Adam Idah's made his point clear to Norwich. He wants to leave for Celtic. He wants the move. So I think that there will have to be a bit of, you know, Norwich will have to give up a little bit of their power in this deal to try and keep everybody happy and to keep the player happy. They don't want to hold him captive at Norwich when he wants to move, but they certainly will want more than £4.5 million. So talks are still ongoing. We understand that Adam Idah's side of the deal is pretty much done. I think that will be a case of, you know, signing the contract upon arrival. I don't think there's much wage negotiations to go on there. But the deal with Norwich itself still needs to go a little bit further. However, it's still going to be a week of multiple signings by the sounds of it. Adam Idah might not arrive in the next 7 days, but it looks as though Paulo Bernardo will, if Stephen McGowan's report in the same article is anything to go by. He did detail in the article that Celtic have submitted their £3.5 million deal for Paulo Bernardo, and that it looks as though it's ready to go. It's just personal terms to be agreed now. They've negotiated down from that £6 million option to buy to a £3.5 million deal plus add-ons and a sell-on percentage, and they're hoping to conclude on personal deals this week. It's to be noted that Paulo Bernardo has not been involved in the friendly squads for Benfica, which means it looks as though his travelling has already started for medicals and the likes. Personal deals is all that's left to be sorted. Of course, there was that report a couple of weeks ago that Paulo Bernardo was in a massive stumbling block towards Celtic because we weren't getting anywhere near the money he was on at Benfica. I think that that's been negotiated. It looks likely that this deal might now finalise itself over the next few days. So realistically, you're looking at perhaps Kasper Schmeichel and Paulo Bernardo both being announced as Celtic players before we jet off to America, or at least those two will go out to America and join up with the team. So I would say those two look set to sign over the next 7 days. We're still awaiting to hear what happens with Adam Idah in regards to the transfer fee being met with Norwich. But 2, possibly 3 signings in the next week. It's a big week for Celtic. If we can end the week with Paulo Bernardo, Kasper Schmeichel and somehow Adam Idah being permanent Celtic players, I would be very happy. It would be a good start in this transfer window with still well over a month to go to focus on other key areas. But decent negotiation going on to try and get the best deals for both Idah and Bernardo. That's a solid start. Kasper Schmeichel coming in to be the number one. Listen, go out and get your left back, go out and get your centre back. We'll all be good to go come September 1st when the window shuts. But that's some big news that came out over the weekend in regards to those key areas and those players that we targeted. So happy days. Finally some movement on the transfer front. And finally, just to end off the video, it looks like O is finally set to leave Celtic. We knew that Celtic were going to go under a little bit of a renovation this summer. Some players going out the door. We've already seen the departures of Rocco Vata, Sead Haksabanovic, a couple of others. but O seems to be the next one. We've been talking about it all window, but it now looks like O is set to move to Genk. Credit to Everything Celtic for the lovely tweet here, to put it in simple terms. But Celtic are set to receive a fee in the region of £4.5 million from Belgian side Genk for O. He joined for £2.5 million a couple of years ago, obviously, but it's only played 44 minutes since the turn of the year. So £4.5 million set to be received by Celtic. Still awaiting to hear final details if any sell-on fees are involved. I assume there will be, but O set to leave. He won't be going to America. He'll be going to Belgium. So thank you very much, O. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you the absolute best of luck, but we await for the final confirmation. And that does it for today, your end of week bulletin. A big week ahead now. We will be here on the channel live for the official announcements of any signings, plus any other news in regards to other transfer targets. Hopefully this is now Celtic getting cooking with gas in this transfer window. That's all you can really hope for. But if you want to stay up to date, if you want to stay in the know, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be appreciated. But that's all for today. I'll see you all next time.